Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Chicken Box. We're excited to have you join us today, and I hope that your week is winding down on a good note. For today, we'll be discussing Black People versus Black Restaurant Week, and we have some special guests joining us today. If this is your first time joining us, I am Courtney Alexander. I'm one of your co hosts, and Impeccable and Dr. Draper unfortunately won't be able to join us again today, but once again, don't worry, they will be back. So, without further ado, join me in welcoming the Afros team staff members. And we have our executive director, Lenora Housey, joining us today, and our digital marketing editor and chef, Aria Brent. How are you ladies doing today?
Well, I am great. I'm excited. I'd like you to add slash after my title, foodie. Um,
Yes. Yes, indeed.
so I'm really excited to be on this particular show. Thank you.
I too am doing well. Thank you so much for having me on. Much like Miss Lenora, I know that with me doing the Afro cooking brand, a lot of people see my face and associated with food. So I'm super excited to talk about some of these restaurants and these Black-owned businesses today.
Yes, indeed. And how is your July going so far?
Ooh, trying to stay hydrated and cool because, the whole planet is hot. But going
Yes.
well. I was just about to say, Aria, you're looking quite like the African queen. You look beautiful.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
as do you, Courtney. I love your hair. Aria, you cooking up anything special we need to know about before we start tonight?
Well, today's Thursday, which of course means Afro Cooking Live. So tonight on Afro Cooking Live, we're making salmon Caesar wraps. So July is National Grilling Month, and I'm still trying to give some consideration as to how I want to go about this. But I was like, it's a little hot for kind of something heavy. Fish is a little bit lighter. It's an alternative to chicken in case you're looking to go like the pescatarian route or anything like that. And I just felt like it would go really well with the flavors that are in Caesar salad and the dressing. I'll be making the dressing from scratch, grilling off the Caesar, kind of doing like a tuna salad thing with it. So mixing the cooked salmon with the dressing once we have it together, putting it in a wrap with some other good stuff. So we've got that coming up tonight. But yes, I say we've got some things lined up for the remainder of July and definitely for August because there's some good stuff coming up then too.
That sounds
Mm,
tasty.
it
Thank you.
really does. National Grilling Month. How did I not know that?
It's
Okay.
also National Blueberry Month as well, National Hot Dog Month. There's a lot of things going on this month.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And everyone, we also have another special guest joining us today. It's my honor to introduce you all to Chef Chris.
Hello, how's it going, guys?
Great, how are you?
I'm amazing.
It's good to see you. Good to have you on, Chef Chris.
Well, it's good, a pleasure you guys have me on this afternoon. I'm Chef Chris of Soultarian Cafe. We are a plant-based food truck and restaurant based right out of Prince George's County, Maryland.
Okay, that's what's up.
And where are you joining us today?
Oh,
Where are you joining?
I'm joining you from I guess it's Suitland or Hillcrest Heights. Our restaurant is at 3660 St. Barnabas Road, right at the corner of St. Barnabas and Silver Hill Road.
Okay.
I love that name, Soultarian. How did you come up with that?
I mean, well, it's just a spin of soul food and vegetarian, right? So, soultarian is a re-envisioning of how we think about plant-based eating, as well as how we can incorporate the ingredients that we already love in our soul food. Like black eyed peas, kale and collard greens. I mean, we've got things at our restaurant like our vegan fried chicken, which is oyster mushrooms. We also have our ribs, which is made from jackfruit and seitan. We definitely have black eyed peas and kale on the menu. We also have a shrimp po' boy that's made from konjac root and good old vegan remoulade sauce. So we're still keeping those traditional flavors that we love and those ingredients that we love and we're used to, and we're going to transform them into plant-based options, just to take those animals out of our diets.
Well, I wish I would have spoke to you last month for Juneteenth. I did a piece called "Making Room at the Table," exploring the intersection of veganism and soul food, and you would have been great for that. I'm super excited to talk to you today.
Well, I'm glad you are. I mean, that's definitely our goal, and also just because in Prince George's County, I mean, there's a lot of food. Actually, I'm gonna say specifically in southern Prince George's County, right, South County. There's a lot of food, but a lot of food is horrible. So, what we like to do for Black Restaurant Week is to get people to come out and check out some of these plant-based options that we have, because our goal is to try to heal our community through food. We got to start at the table.
Start at the table is right. Well, first of all, I'm I already came on hungry, but after you went through that whole rundown, I'm like, let me find out how long it's going to take me to get from Owings Mills, Baltimore County to Suitland, because it sounds absolutely amazing. Looking forward to partaking.
Yes, indeed. And we also have another special guest joining us today. Today we have the managing partner of Black Restaurant Week, Eric Robinson. How are
Hey,
you
what's
today?
going on? Good, good. How you guys doing today?
Doing
Hello,
wonderful.
hello.
Good, good, good. I love to see this black folks looking good, smiling, hungry, ready to eat. I love that. Ready to
All of
talk
it.
about food, all the things. I mean, I heard that. We said Lenore said she's like a good foodie. Aria, we got some chit chats to do about some programming and stuff like that. Chefs Chris, looking forward to highlighting your business in a couple of days here. So super excited of your support as well too. But thank you guys for having me on so far.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And before we jump into the discussion of Black people versus Black Restaurant Week, I want to highlight that the Afro is Maryland's oldest Black business, and we have 130 years of history, and we continue to have a role in informing and educating the Black community. And if you aren't from the Baltimore community, a chicken box is 4 wings and fries with salt and pepper that you can enjoy with ketchup, hot sauce, and with a Arnold Palmer.
She
And
said
I
today,
love
Arnold.
that.
Wait a minute,
I
wait a
thought it
minute,
was a
wait
half
a
and
minute,
half.
wait a minute,
Right.
Chicago.
is it half and half?
Half and half.
Yeah, I was like a half and half.
Chicago.
Is it not the same thing?
We
For
do
the
not
culture,
talk.
it's half and
Oh, for the
half.
culture, yeah, half and half.
It's a half
mean,
and
other-
half.
All right, let me correct it.
Now, sometimes New York people will call it an uptown.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I've not heard that one.
Mhm.
Okay, so where do all these different names come from? Because I've only ever known it to be an Arnold Palmer, and then
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A is a Sunjoy. But everywhere else, like, where did this come from? Okay, all right, I'm gonna have to look into that now.
Half and half
Yeah.
is a standard melanated term for the lemonade iced tea mix.
Okay,
Right.
I got y'all.
And the
I
tea
can see
got
that.
to be sweet. It can't be
Yeah, sweet tea
dry.
and lemonade.
It can't be unsweetened.
It's got to be
Lemonade
like,
with unsweetened tea. That's offensive. I'm gonna get violent.
Now, unsweetened tea and lemonade, that's an Arnold Palmer.
Right.
We discovered
that's
the
a good
difference.
distinction.
We discovered
Yeah,
the difference.
a
Okay.
half and half has to be like pre-diabetical.
Oh, yeah.
Number one.
Yes.
You got to
but
hit
don't
that
feel
in
bad
and need
when-
an
Off,
insulin
off the
shot
rib.
right there.
Off,
Yeah,
off
it's
the
got to
rib.
be like,
Off the
get
rib.
ready to take your med as soon as you drink it.
Okay.
But don't feel badly, Aria or Courtney, because when I moved to Baltimore now, a few decades ago, I moved here from Philadelphia, and it was just either iced tea or lemonade. So I heard people ordering this half and half. I thought they were talking about coffee creamer. So I was like,
Oh, Lord.
what does that have to do with the beverage we're ordering right now? Nor did I know what a chicken box was, but I have since been educated. And so, yes, I love the sort of double entendre of the name of the show. But we're going to talk, I think we're talking healthier food than the fried chicken wings today, though, aren't we?
Well, don't get it twisted. I mean, with our plant-based soul food, we definitely got some fried wings. As a matter of fact, our wings come in sweet chili, buffalo, or jerk or barbecue. I also have smoked wings on the menu because, we want to incorporate those barbecue and soul food essences into our plant-based cooking. So we got smoked wings on the menu. We got vegan barbecue ribs. So we got to have chicken. Oh, we also got fried chicken on the menu. And you know how everybody's been serving fried chicken with that honey hot? Right? So since honey's not vegan, we got our maple hot sauce. Bussin'.
I know somebody who mixes hot sauce with maple syrup, and they did it when I was a kid, and I was like, that's so crazy. And then I started doing it, and I was like, I get it now. I get it. That little bit of sweet and spicy is going to set the chicken off every time.
I can
Mm,
see that.
mm, mm.
Somebody asking us if we're using seitan for our chicken. Actually, for the chicken that we're using for our fried chicken on the menu, that's oyster mushrooms. The wings we're using soy drummies, and for the fried chicken sandwich we're using the seitan. So we have a few different styles of chicken because what I wanted to do was make our plant based inclusive to people that do gluten, people who don't do gluten, people who do soy, who don't do soy, people who want whole vegetable plant based. So we got a broad spectrum of things on our menu, so we can take care of whatever type of diet that you have. Whether it be gluten free or not. Different things.
I love it.
When I started building the menu, I didn't want to put Soultarian in a box. You know what I mean? I want us to be able to be flexible and be palatable to the masses because even meat eaters are satisfied by our cuisine.
I heard that. Listen. I have it all. You trust me. You will be seeing me soon.
Pull up.
And so you're dine in and takeout. You said you have.
Yeah, so it's a cafe. It's cafe
Okay.
style. You can order us on DoorDash, Uber Eats, our own online ordering. You can come in. I got tables to sit down. You order at the counter, wait for your food. It's cafe style. There's no waiters and waitresses. We just got good food, and then we throw a little bit of vibes in there with it.
Okay, and a half and half. Okay.
So, Chris, a quick question for you. A conversation I'm constantly having with people regarding vegan food is why call it something it's not, right? So you're calling it a fried chicken sandwich, you're calling it chicken wings, but obviously we know that it's a plant-based alternative. Do you
Hmm.
feel like you do that to make people feel more comfortable, or is it just a matter of like it's supposed to be imitating this, so therefore we're calling it that? Because my mom, she's not opposed to trying vegan food, but her biggest thing is like she doesn't like the idea of it being an imitation of something it's not. She'd rather you just be like, this is a fried seitan sandwich with, whatever toppings you have on it.
Heard, I got you. So now the reason that I like to call it the things that we're emulating, right, is because I want you to get in your mind the direction that we're going in to put you in the mindset of this is the item that we're emulating. Now this is where people have a conflict, and it takes an educational moment at times when people say fake this or fake that, right? Because like say oh fake chicken, right? So when you utilize that word fake, it automatically puts you into the mindset that it's something artificial. So what I try to educate people and say, this isn't fake chicken. This is real food. These are plants put together in a different way to put you in the mindset of that particular meat item that you might be used to eating. But it's not fake meat. You know what I mean? Because the things that we're making might have 5 ingredients, and even that meat that they're eating has a whole lot of back ingredients that they don't even know about that's in their food. Whether it be pink slime or hormones or additives. I mean, I'm giving you something that's only made from beans, wheat, nutritional yeast, and seasonings.
Mm,
Okay, thank you for that explanation. I really appreciate
yeah, that was great. That was great.
And Derek, I have a question for you because
What's
I
going on?
want to touch on Black Restaurant Week. Can you like tell us more about that and what significance does that have on the Black community?
Yeah, absolutely. So Black Restaurant Week, we got started in Houston, Texas, and we're celebrating 8 years of actually highlighting Black-owned culinary businesses nationwide. It is a marketing and awareness platform. So just as Soltarian here is today, these are opportunities that we be able to amplify and really just highlight what they're doing in the culinary space. And since we've created that particular platform, when we first got started, it was we only had like 20 restaurants in Houston, and it was only 1 week. And so individuals were like, oh, we need more time. So it expanded from just 1 week to 2 weeks. And we actually started expanding not only outside of Houston, the metropolitan area, but we are able to do the 15 campaigns that you see today. More specifically, we are doing our 4th annual Black Restaurant Week in the greater Washington, D.C. region, just highlighting restaurants from Baltimore, D.C., as well as Alexandria, and then just other cities that are encompassing around the metropolitan area. And it's just been an amazing platform, just being able to highlight these great culinary businesses, because sometimes they don't really get the notoriety that they should be receiving locally and nationally. And that's what we're able to do, is provide them that space on our platform. We've had some great success with partnering with some great organizations such as Disney, NASCAR, Uber, even BB&T now, which is New Bank now, and some other great entities to be able to highlight these restaurants based on our efforts. And it's just been amazing to be able to be a vehicle to really amplify what they're doing, and the impact has been great. Not only do some of these restaurants have an influx of traffic, there's other folks outside of just outside of just Black folks that see these restaurants, but there's others saying, "Hey, I do want to support these restaurants. I do want to participate. I definitely want to make sure they are a staple in my everyday monthly eating experiences with my family, friends, auxiliary groups. They may be a catering opportunity, things of that nature." That we have seen across the campaign over the years, and some have actually expanded through our campaign. They've had so much success that they went from a food truck to a brick and mortar, and from a brick and mortar to having 2 locations in the cities that we support them in. And it has just been amazing efforts that we have been doing so far for about 8 years now. And then also on the other side of the house for Black restaurant, we have our foundation called Feed the Soul Foundation, which really where Black and Restaurant ends as far as a marketing awareness campaign, the Feed the Soul Foundation picks up and be able to create more stability for these restaurants through grants, resources, advocacy, even business development support, such as there's a lot of restaurants, they just know how to cook food really well, but we come in and really support them with business efforts, learning how to line up their books properly with QuickBooks. We team them up with various various individuals who are specialized in those areas, such as marketing, merchandising, franchising, et cetera. So again, if you can imagine just owning a restaurant, it's very hard. Chef Chris can definitely attest to that. There's so many things outside of just food that you have to really start thinking about. Number one, am I making a profit off of making a sandwich? Is my restaurant even in the right space from a real estate standpoint? I know it was a deal, but do I have enough impressions, enough visibility for that? Then, okay, how am I marketing my business? I take good photos, but unfortunately, your iPhone or your Android ain't gonna cut it. Really investing in a food photographer. And if you want to expand, how are you able to get your HR together so that you can be able to really make sure you manage your staff properly? And then, of course, you want to franchise. How are you able to put all those ingredients together to say, hey, look, this has been streamlining perfectly so that we can be able to expand in our city and probably even to another city. So those are some of the efforts that we've done with the Feed the Soul Foundation. And, we're so thankful right now that we're actually getting ready to host our first I can't speak today, our first global culinary conference in Houston in January of 2024 to be able to support these restaurants nationwide to learn more efforts to help build better their business.
Wow. Well, you said a mouthful, no pun intended. But so what can people expect when they go to Black Restaurant Week? And I'm going to lose my foodie card when I admit that I was not familiar with Black Restaurant Week until we started to cover it in this show. But is it going to different locations? Is there one big sort of festival atmosphere where there are different stands? So what should I expect when I come next week? Because I'm coming.
Absolutely. So Black Restaurant Week, there's a few ways that we support restaurants during our campaigns. So first and foremost, there are restaurants that we highlight. So right now we're almost at 100 restaurants participating in the campaign coming up on the 16th through the 30th. Here in the greater Washington area. I do apologize. I had an emergency alert on my phone, y'all. Y'all know how that.
Yeah, I heard that.
Y'all know how those come off. But there are no tickets needed to support these restaurants. We are highlighting these restaurants, and they are. I know there was a question that had popped up about specials. These restaurants are providing specials for individuals to partake in, whether it is a special happy hour, if it is any type of deal on one of their signature dishes. So we ask that individuals go to the website, which is blackrestaurantweeks.com. There's a designated Greater Washington, D.C. tab that you can see all the participating restaurants that are participating, such as Soltarian, that they're coming up with their tab in our directory as well too. Individuals can be able to partake in that. Also, throughout the week, we actually are highlighting some events that are happening throughout the campaign as well too. Some of these events are, Throwback Thursday, which is going to be at Lydia on the H, where it's a happy hour experience where there's a DJ and they're having a good time, but they listen to all the old school vibes. So if you're an old school lover like I am, that's a moment to really engage in that. We also have an opportunity because our sponsor this year is Stella Artois, and Stella Artois is coming together, and we're having some events for happy hour, such as Ben's Next Door, and then also at Matchbox coming up as well too. So individuals can go to our website and see not only just the participating restaurants, but also the events that we are hosting during the campaign coming up.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And
So I do want to say it's not a festival. There are no tickets needed. So the tickets you have are just the food that you buy at the restaurants that you are supporting, for sure. But yes, our hope is in a few years is to be able to do some of our signature events out in the area. We highlight caterers and bartenders and food trucks in various ways, and we're hoping to do that with the coming years in the area.
wonderful. Thank you for that. And people can also visit afro.com. I know we're doing a lot of coverage. It will be in the paper this week as well as online. So to find out more information about it. So thank you.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
And I have a question for everyone. We are a multi-generational show. I'm holding it down for Gen Z. So I'm curious about this from like different generational standpoints. Like where did your love for food come from and what are some of your favorite Black dishes? And anyone can answer.
Are we starting with the oldest? Because that would be Aria. No.
Ah! So wise, it really just might be. It might be.
No, of course it's me, obviously. So wow, where did my love for food come from? I literally think it's innate with me. It's you know, all of my family are food lovers. And so this goes back to as far as I can remember as a child. And what was the other question? What is my favorite, like
Black dish.
traditional Black? Whew. You may have to come back to me because I've got more than a lot of favorites. But I guess if I really had to narrow it down, if this is considered a Black dish, I'm a chicken wing lover. And I have had vegan wings that were made, Chef Chris, cauliflower.
Oh yeah, it's popular to make those like that.
Yes. So I would say chicken wings.
Well, I think that my love of food came from just being a little fat boy. I mean, I would always, like food in my family was like, you could come in off the street and you ask for some money, they'd be like, oh no, we ain't give you the money. But if you say, I'm hungry, we're gonna feed you, right? So food kind of was incorporated like love, you know what I mean? Like compassion and love and bringing the family together. That's why I started liking food. And then plus, after that school lunch was over with, when you got home, I didn't say my generation. I am the beginning of the millennials, right? So I'm the OG millennials. So I got some of the generation stuff before me, and the whole everything else all the millennials got. We started off with what we had 686 computers, and then we went on up to PCs. You know what I mean? So she's like, "What's a 686 exactly?" Right?
Listen, and I'm from the generation before, well, and maybe two generations. So I'm sort of on the cusp of the boomers, I guess. So, but I don't even know what a 686 is.
Well, that was before like PC came out. It was like it was like if we were instead of Microsoft Word, we had Microsoft Works, and instead of Excel, we had spreadsheets.
The great value versions of
that's pretty much that's what it was.
Yeah.
Look, was that for the culture?
I was fortunate enough to grow up in a household that we did have a computer. You know what I mean? My mom worked for the federal government, so I had a computer when dial up was. You had to take 3 days to get an email on dial up.
I will have to piggyback off of Chris. I definitely am in the space of that. The millennials that definitely have taken the digital space to the next level. I do remember being in dial-up. I remember only having one phone line and going from one phone line to two. Also remember the typewriter and all that other stuff, and
Oh
have
yeah.
to work all the yeah. It's been it's been
Or
a
the
mess,
long
but
phone cord that went through the
the
whole house.
the long phone cord where you had it was always in the kitchen. It was always in
You
the
all don't know
kitchen.
anything about that stuff. Come on now.
And I know about the rotary phone and everything. I
Oh
have
yeah,
all of that.
flips.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. And then the QWERTY text and stuff like that. You had to hit A 3 times to say how you doing. And anyway, but
Now
we're not
no,
gonna get into
that
but
was a ripoff. They was charging you by the character.
by the characters. It was
Look,
terrible.
I'm
But
I'm nights and weekends old. Remember that? Don't call my cell
don't
phone
call after
after
9.
6 o'clock.
901. You 901. You got
The
don't
rates
let
are
you
going
send
up.
that. Right, don't send a MMS where it's like it's $2 to send a photo that you
Yeah,
can't that didn't even
wasting
look
my
good, but
characters.
wasting all my bill, all my good money. But that was not the question. But my love of food has developed over the years. I'm from Austin, Texas, and being able to be around with Black Restaurant Week, I've been able to just see so many since we've created the platform back in 2015. It's been just amazing to see so much food around the space. I personally love my traditional soul foods, but one thing that to highlight outside of that is my Nigerians, and I love Nigerian food. I love jollof rice. I love meat pie. I love the entire diaspora and the whole entire game that they have rocking around. So I definitely was just encourage individuals, like, that's the beauty of Black Restaurant Week, being able to not only expand our palates from a soul food level, but as Chris was saying, like, you can go into the vegan side, you can also go into the Caribbean side, you can even go into the African side. I mean, even down here in the South, we have a lot of Cajun influence. So I love my Cajun food. So I got that's always a key step for me right there. But even on the dessert side, I love peach cobbler. It has to be right. It has to be hot with some cold with some vanilla ice cream. It gotta be right. It gotta be right and tight. For me.
Come on
But
now,
those,
Derek. Come on
yeah,
now.
but
Peach
that
cobbler
is
for the culture.
peach cobbler for the culture. But I will be very honest, you guys. I know in the years of doing Black Restaurant Week, there was a moment where we were highlighting some restaurants across the nation, and it was a moment where I was highlighting some of Jamaican spots in the area at the more Caribbean space, Caribbean restaurant, excuse me. And the interviewer, without the lick, just said, "What makes their rice taste different?" I mean, after I said what I had to say, they said, "What makes the rice taste different?" So, again, that is the greatness of the platform, is to be able to highlight these restaurants, to be able to expand your palate. You're always going to know your foundation, your soul foods. You're going to have your fried chickens, your greens, your yams, all that. You're going to have mac and cheese. You're going to have all of that. But being able to kind of expand and branch out just a little bit is something that I hope everyone can do. But again, my food is jollof rice and meat pie and goat meat. That's it.
I didn't know we were doing desserts. So
To kind of piggyback off of Derek's point, first off, I don't know if you've ever had an African meat pie, but if you haven't, get yourself one, because they are so delicious.
Everything.
Like,
Everything.
a Jamaican beef patty is good, but like a Gambian meat pie or just anything, it's just something special. But much like the responses that were given, me personally, my love for food came from the fact that I grew up seeing it. So, like, my mom went to culinary school. My mom used to have a catering business before I was born, even. But she was just always cooking, and so I'm her only daughter. So, of course, she's like, "Oh, like I need to pass this down to her." Like, my brother's picking up on it was a cute idea, but she was like, like, my daughter has to know how to cook." And so, picking that up from her, it was cool. It was something that I knew how to do. Honestly, it took me going to college in the deep South, in Jackson, Mississippi, for me to grow to have like a passion for it. I think, like, I always liked to cook, but it was when I realized I was good at it. Furthermore, it was getting exposed to this different side of Black culture that I never got the chance to experience before. So meeting these people and then having this hospitality, recognizing the versatility of Black food, much like you said, Derek, I think that oftentimes we think about soul food, we think about the classic dishes, and it's like, technically, yes, if you want to be technical, there are certain foods that fall within it. But it's like, if you want to talk about Black food in general, there's this humongous menu and range of food that is based in the diaspora. So it's still in Africa, it's in the Caribbean, it's in South America, it's in Central America, it's in all these different places. We are everywhere. Like, you cannot get rid of us. We're like locusts. And so, more times than not, you're going to find Black food in spaces that Black people frequent, even when you think that we won't. Um, I think that as far as like my favorite Black food goes, I really, really love the way that we do breakfast. There is nothing like fish and grits to me.
Yeah.
Biscuits and
Mhm.
sausage gravy, just certain stuff. I don't know. I'm a breakfast person. Like, I love all food, but getting up in the morning and having something that feels like it's going to put me back to sleep, just do a little and so I love that. But then also I love the versatility of sweet potatoes. I don't know what it is. I will make a sweet potato anything. I've done
Mhm.
sweet potato waffles, sweet potato pancakes, sweet potato muffins, sweet potato cob. Like I'm just like George Washington Carver really hit the nail on the head when he was like, we can do a lot with this. And I was like, yes, we can, Mr. Carver. And so yeah, I just think that like black food is limitless. And furthermore, I think that we have such an interesting um profile or flavor profile that when we kind of do like fusion food, it sets it off. Like, cool, you can do Tuscan pasta, but then if you just put just a little bit of Tony Chachere's on it, like, oh, we done took it to the next level. Like, who knew that that was a thing? Um, we're undefeated. And then I also think that what we fail to recognize sometimes is like how many American foods were rooted in black people. So like people love buffalo wings. Buffalo wings, the base for buffalo wings essentially were started by a black man. We love macaroni and cheese. James Hemmings was the person who came up with it because of how much Thomas Jefferson loved it. Like we're just, I love the history behind it. I love everything. I love food. Like eating is cool. Like also to what Chef Chris said, like the inner fat kid in me, the fact that like food was always like a feeling of comfort or it was just something. It's good for the body, even when it's technically not good for the body. It brings you that comfort or whatever. But yes, I love all things about food. Absolutely.
Well, thanks for that history lesson too, Arya.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
We've
ma'am.
come through history.
Yes, yes.
Come on through. Come on through. All right, Courtney. What about you?
I think she might be a little behind.
Ooh, the pressure's on.
Ouch.
I would say food reminds me of family. With food, it reminds me of family gatherings. Like whenever we would all like cook food, it would always be like for a holiday or something. So, like Arya said, it reminds me of comfort and just like having my family around me. So, I fell in love with food. Honestly, it just tastes good. So since a younger age, I was like, "Ooh, I love this." Like, I love sweets. Like, I take sweets over savory. Like any food, any day. Like, I'll eat cake over food. So to me, I love peach cobbler, caramel cake. I love German chocolate cake. I love
Mm.
blueberry pie, cherry
Yes.
pie. Like,
Yes.
anything else. Anything that has to
I'm
do
getting
with like
hungry. I want some sweets right now. Yo.
Listen.
Right.
Blueberries are in season right now too. So yes,
Would you say Arya?
blueberries are in season currently.
Mhm.
Oh, you said this is National Blueberry Month or something?
Yes, so it's not so July is National Blueberry Month. Blueberries are currently technically rain or cherries are currently in season, but it's about to be blueberry season as well. So like whenever you think of cherries and berries in the summertime, it goes strawberries, cherries, blueberries, and then peaches are technically all summer long.
Yep.
So, Courtney, can I ask you? So, of all, because you named quite a few dishes, do you cook? Do you cook?
Yeah, I cook. My mom taught me how to cook, and I also learned from my grandma. With me, they can do the food. I got the dessert.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
'Cause baking is a science. Baking is different from cooking.
Yes, it is.
Definitely.
Yes, it
Definitely.
is.
But it's
Yeah.
a necessary science.
Very much so.
Yes, it
There it
is.
is. Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
lots of
I'm a cook, not a baker.
you ask them
So
to bake and they like you asked them to do rocket science.
that's right. Can I ask Derek a question? Because you said I think something that was really good about the business side of restaurants and owning and a restaurant. So for you and Chef Chris, can you talk about some of the challenges that people may not be aware of, and then Derek, what your organization does to help educate restaurateurs?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let Chris go first, if he wants to take over.
Well, definitely, it's way more to even being a chef or entrepreneur in a restaurateur than just the food. I always say that the food is the easy part. I'll say one of the hardest part. It's not even necessarily food costing. But if you don't have a handle on that, I think it's managing your human resources, right? Because he made a point earlier where he talked about HR and how that was important to manifest your business and whatnot. Because you have some people that'll come in unskilled workers and say, "Hey, I want a job," and you give them a chance, and they become the best worker that you have. Then you have other people that'll come in and they'll just do the bare minimum of their job with no aspiration to try to climb and add to your business. Now, having a larger corporation, it doesn't affect you on the level that it does with having a small business, right? Because our human resources are our business. That's what drives our business on a daily basis. From the cashier that's giving great customer service to your customers, to the guy that's washing the dishes to make sure y'all got clean pots and pans. You know what I mean? So that's a factor. Um, Marketing. When I first started the food truck, I didn't really know how to market. I mean, I know that I had a big personality, so I tried to, do a lot of Instagramming and whatnot. And I think that we organically, grew to over 10,000 followers over the course of, I'll say, I guess 3 years from 2019 up to 2023. Like now we're
Mm-hmm.
about 10,000 followers on Instagram. Um,
Ooh.
Without paying people to do this, that I just would try to make sure that we would stay out in the streets and have a visibility within the community so that people could, resonate with our brand. That definitely is a challenge in itself. Even financing. I mean, whether it be from loans or for whether they say, hey, you know what, you got a business. If you don't have no business credit, we need to try to run your personal credit, and
Mm.
and just different challenges like that. Even with cash flow challenges, your payroll is coming, bills are coming in, whether it be from your purveyors like Cisco and things of that nature, or even if you have some other local people, you got to still make sure that that money's flowing around. Now, when you do catering and you're processing your credit card payments through your POS, sometimes that might take a week to 2 weeks before that money actually is into your bank accounts. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So it's like you're operating this week off of 2 weeks ago's revenues.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
So
that can be a challenge. Thank you. I think a lot of people, we come in, we sit down, and we enjoy the great cuisine, but behind the scenes, it's a lot.
Yeah.
it
and
definitely, even
and
with the
just
food
based.
truckers booking and everything, just trying to stay organized. I mean, I think that's one of my challenges as well, because I mean, I don't have like a secretary or nothing. I'm everything. You are, when if I need to be the cook, if I need to be the dishwasher, if I need to be the PR person, everything, you have to incorporate that and wear different hats at different times throughout your day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just shout out to Chris, Chef Chris. I mean, I know it's an amazing thing to see that you've been able to have so much growth over the beginning of your restaurant. But Lenore, to your question, I mean, it's just as that. I know. And again, one thing I like to tell a lot of folks, because I'm a responsible for the marketing efforts of Black Restaurant Week. I try to strive and make sure that folks provide grace to these restaurant owners throughout the campaign. I know there's always different comments and notions like, oh, the service isn't up to par, this and that, and this. There's been things that I have seen grumbling from both sides of the house,
Hmm.
and just as Chris has mentioned, it is a very tough road to be able to be a restaurant entrepreneur. And again, there are some folks who just like to cook the food and just want to just do just that, and they don't know how to really manage the front of the house. They know how to do the back of the house, but they don't know how to do the front of the house. And so there's different levels that you can imagine about what every aspect of how to run the business, a restaurant business. We definitely have an incubator for folks who want to learn how to launch a restaurant. What does that look like? What does it take? To Chris's point, do you have your capital together? Do you have your business plan together before you go to the bank? I make sure you're brokering the right deal, making sure that you are getting the right capital for that. Because again, on the onset, before you even before you even say, hey, look, I want to cook my dishes, you're already come out the door with $100,000, and you haven't even done anything. Like, all you did was just buy equipment. And
Mm.
so for a lot of folks, that's overwhelming in itself, right? Because I just was doing just a little 1-2 over here, and I'm just trying to. But now I have to buy that $100,000 worth of equipment. Oh my God, like that, and then how to manage that, and then how to teach people how to operate those things. And of course, every business is a revolving door. It is what it is, but being able to have that streamline of how to do certain things in the front and the back of the house is also something we come into play. So to your point, Lenora, Black Restaurant Week It is a marketing awareness campaign. So we highlight these businesses to be able to make sure that they are getting an influx of folks throughout the campaign. Definitely folks have seen an increase of their sales during their participation with us.
Mhm.
Our campaign, our theme is more than just a week. So it's not where we're highlighting restaurants just during their designated campaign. For example, the Greater Washington D.C. efforts are July 16th to 30th. But we do other programming throughout the year to be able to highlight these restaurants with other partners that we work with, like Stella Artois and Disney and some other folks we've worked in the past. And so that's some injections that we do. But on the foundation side, we are able to really create stability for these restaurants. So number one, we're getting ready to launch next year master classes where individuals can learn how to do some very standardized things of owning a business: finances, marketing, operations, and franchising. And so we are teaming up with consultants to be able to put on these master classes that all the restaurants can be able to participate in. We have a cohort where restaurants across the nation are applying for grants from us. Not only do they get $10,000 worth of a grant from us, but they also get 6 months of business development support of their choosing. Again, it could be marketing, human resources, standard operating procedures, franchising, merchandising, et cetera, to be able to help elevate and expand their businesses. And at sometimes, restaurants can call upon us to be able to ask questions like, how can we learn to do this? Or how, for example, Chris was saying, I don't know how to do marketing. So what can you guys assist me with? We have a team of folks that we work with across the nation, even more specifically in these regions that we host campaigns. So we can reach out to our food photographers. We can reach out to some of our influencers. We can reach out to some of our folks who support individuals with Facebook ads to be able to help them amplify a little bit more about their business, even when it comes to some resources as far as like getting bodies in the door. We're getting ready to launch on our website soon a job board so folks can know
Mm.
that these restaurants across the nation are looking for help. So if you know of anyone, maybe it could be your nephew, your niece, someone who needs to just get some money, get out the house, stop bothering you. They can
Right,
and
right.
learn how to get their own money, and learn how to how get a business sense. We're pushing folks to these restaurants. Also with that same space, getting more advocacy as well too, because there's also needs to be a level playing field for these restaurants. As you guys can imagine, there's so many grants and funds out here, but some of these restaurants sometimes can't tap into that because their finances are not up to par. There are some
Mhm.
individuals that across the nation, they're still doing they're still doing their books on brown paper bags, and
Mm.
they're losing receipts. And again, it's no faults of them. It's no fault of their own as far as that. But again, we're really trying to make sure these restaurants are understanding the business side of running a business, because again, it's very rewarding as well as it is tiring. So we do understand that, but we're also here to support them in any effort that we can. When folks are coming to us for Black Restaurant, we can also with our Feed the Soul Foundation as well.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'm listening to what you're saying. How do restaurant owners, restaurateurs, how do they find out about all that you and your organization has to offer other than platforms like this? Because it sounds like you definitely serve a need.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, we would as Chris, he's part of our system now. So as we see these grants around the nation, we are putting them in our database, and we're shooting them out to these restaurants to say, hey, look, you guys, these items are coming up. These grants are coming up. See if you can be able to apply and receive more funding for that. We're always looking for opportunities and ways for restaurants to grow within Black restaurant. But again, our platform, we highlight these restaurants, and folks are just looking at our directory year over year to see who's participating or what restaurants are in the local areas that they can support. So again, someone had asked a question, will there be a list? Yes. So that is an ongoing thing with Black Restaurant Week. Everyone's like, what's the list? Where's the list? And we strive to get the list in a couple of days before the market launches. But again, sometimes it's us. So it's, so you have those last minute stragglers. So therefore, we definitely strive to have the list posted on our social channels, either the day before, the day of, or the day after. So we definitely strive to have that cadence across the gamut for us. But in the event that we have not posted our list yet, folks can still go to our website and see restaurants who are participating because they have already registered. And that's another note I want to say as well too. Our campaign, our platform, restaurants can register for free. We don't ask them for any money. A lot of these times, a lot of restaurants, they have never participated in a restaurant week campaign. They don't know what it is. They don't know what's going on. But the other restaurant week campaigns, sometimes they do ask individuals to pay, and then they also have to provide a portion of their proceeds to a particular organization. We do not ask that. We do not look for that. We want to make sure that these restaurants are getting as much revenue as possible with us during our campaign. So that is our effort. There are some ways that restaurants can get a more of a robust experience with us, and that's something that they buy into. But we're at base level, these restaurants are not paying for to participate in our platform at all.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
And
that's good to know.
I have a quick question for Chef Chris.
Yes.
Yeah, what is some advice that you can offer aspiring Black chefs who want to break out into the culinary industry, but they aren't sure where to start yet?
Well, that's a good question. First of all, I want to say that you got to really have some passion for the industry if you want to really get into it. Um, Everything ain't like Food Network, right? So and if you have a failure, pick back up and continue, right? You know what I'm saying? You small failures lead to more growth, I would say. Um, if you have a passion for your cuisine, try to do what you can to educate yourself about the stuff that you're making, get your skill set together as far as your culinary skill. Because being a good home cook and also being a cook for the masses is a totally different ball game. Has some similarities, but even for the home cooks, I see she plugging it down at the bottom. Check out my YouTube channel, Southern Bread Chef, and I'm doing some plant-based cooking that you can do at home to get you started on that path. But if you want to be, a chef and an entrepreneur to build up your brand, try to learn under some other people. I mean, I know that YouTube and Instagram, say you'll say, all right, I saw this on YouTube and I can do this myself. Yes, you can. But the thing that a lot of people lack through whatever things that you learn off of the internet is that you don't have experience, right? You have a boatload of knowledge, a plethora of knowledge to draw from. But what you don't have is experience. If something goes wrong, how do you pivot? How do you make adjustments? Do you understand exactly what you're doing so that you can move through this process? You know what I mean? Because sometimes people, I can do this, I can do that. Yeah, you've learned it, just like at school, right? You learn to do stuff at school, but you still have to go out into the real world and apply it. I think my culinary degree actually says the applied science of culinary arts, right? So that's taking the things that you've learned and you have to actually do things, move through that processes to develop yourself, to develop your skill set. Like I play video games. It's like you leveling up in an RPG. Everything that you do is a level up of a skill set. You know what I mean? Your knife skills, your customer service skills, your understanding of products, your management skills, because you go from a good cook to a great cook to a good chef to a good manager to a good leader to a good business person, right? But at the end of the day, end up as Black kings. But that's just how I view it.
I like the progression.
Yeah.
There's always got to be progression. Nothing happens overnight. Just like the analogy we see about the iceberg. Everybody always see everything that's on top, but they'll never understand the things that it took to get there.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I started the food truck, it was several days I was sitting out in front of the mall by myself, and nobody was coming to the truck, and I was like, "What am I doing?" So if you don't have no wherewithal to your challenges, then you won't be successful.
Yeah.
Especially to have survived the pandemic.
Well, during the pandemic, it was crazy, right? It was a pivot, so I was still We have another restaurant that me and my business partner have, Infused. Well, it's on this show, the Infused, which is our non-plant based restaurant. It's it's like a bar and grill, so nobody was coming in there. The food truck, my social distance was I was running the food truck by myself because I didn't want to be around anybody. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna still sell food in the parking lot. I end up having lines in the parking lot because then nobody have anything to do but eat. And as far as eating
Yeah.
better, I think veganism by that around that time had gone up maybe 5%, but veganism in the African American community has gone up about 20 to 25%. Because when I first started the food truck, they would say, "Man, ain't nobody gonna eat vegan food over in the hood.
Mhm.
All the young hood dudes is vegan."
Yeah.
You'd
Isn't
be
that something?
surprised. About saying I can't speak
You'd
from
be very
experience,
surprised.
but a little bit of time in the pen will teach you something. And they be, I don't eat meat anymore. All right, well, cool, good for you.
Exactly. I mean, and I would say we have a big spectrum of people that come into, well, that started coming to the food truck as well as are coming to our restaurant now. So, you be people say, I remember they say, well, oh, you'll do successful if you take your food truck and go over here to this white side of the town, right? And I would say, well, you know what? I didn't create the Soltarian just for that. It was, yes, I want to get money, right? But my end goal isn't avarice. You know what I'm saying? I have a larger goal, which is to actually bring better options and try to break that generational curse of what we think, what we think is good food or what we think eating should be like, right?
Mhm.
Just change that narrative because our heart diseases and all the different things, diabetes, is not hereditary. It's taught and learned behavior through our diets.
Say it again. Seriously, because we as Black Americans suffer disproportionately from almost every sickness and disease that people have. And it's not, like I said, it's not all just genetics or hereditary. A lot of it is lifestyle, what we're putting in our bodies and what we're not putting in our bodies that we should be. So I'm really glad to
Definitely,
see, and
definitely. I
everyone
mean,
knows, and I've already proclaimed
I,
being a
we
foodie.
want to have a population.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chef, you broke up a little bit.
I know everybody broke up. My whole screen
Oh,
froze up. I don't know. You guys see me now?
you said you was broke up.
To the point that you were making, Miss Lenore, along with you, Chef Chris, I think that's always a very interesting topic of conversation. Just because, like you said, obviously, yes, like there's the scientific aspect of it that shows, literally due to enslavement, we are more likely to have certain conditions and we deal with stress a certain kind of way. And, like there's the science and like the biological aspect of it. But I had a conversation actually with like my healthcare professional as a diabetic. We had the conversation. She was like, understand that like it's hereditary in like the literal genetic sense, but also in like the way that, like you said, the way that we learn certain stuff. And I had to, like, we had a conversation and I had to stop and look at how, because like diabetes is hereditary on my father's side. She was like, well, how does your dad look at food as opposed to your mom? And I was like, well, I mean, they both grew up fat kids, like they love food. She was like, but like, what did food mean to them? And I had to stop and think about it. Like my mom's family ate fried chicken on Sundays because they wanted to. Meanwhile, my dad grew up a little poor. And so it's like we ate chicken because chicken was cheap and beef was expensive. And so
Mm,
it's like,
yep.
was eating certain foods a way of survival or was it a matter of choice, regardless of the food being consumed? What was the mindset behind it? A lot of us oftentimes have like that clean plate club mentality where it's like you're not leaving this table until you eat. But it's like if I'm full, or better yet, if like I think and obviously this is a whole nother conversation. I think having a choice as to what you do and don't like I get it, you made it, cool, whatever. I don't have kids, but I work with them, and so I understand the frustration where it's like you gonna eat this spaghetti, but it's like baby don't want the spaghetti. If
Maybe don't want it. Maybe don't want it.
spaghetti, like you'd honestly be better just letting them be hungry. Like forcing it upon them honestly isn't doing anything. And what it does is like, from what my doctor was saying, like it creates this mindset that like we can't turn away food, so therefore we don't turn away food. Thus, this constant consumption of this food that isn't doing us any good. So I just wanted to put that in there for that conversation. Like I said, as much as it is oh, my grandmother and my grandmother's grandmother and whomever else, all had the sugar and the gout or whatever else. Part of it is also like the way that we look at it. And so I think, like you said, Chef Chris, to keep it within your community and to show people that like you can still, have this comfort and enjoy these flavors that you're also familiar with, but consume them in a way that's better for you is important.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Just because we oftentimes we would love to say it's just food, but let's be real, food is something that is extremely universal yet also personal. And
Mhm.
so giving up something that means the world to me because it reminds me of somebody or a time in my life or a time of year, whatever, it's not so easy to give it up. And I think that we need to stop encouraging people to just, oh, it's just you could give up fried chicken. I might not be able to. Fried chicken really might be linked to me, but it's
Mhm.
like if you could show me a different way to consume it, so therefore I can still have this sentiment that means a lot to me, but it not be killing me, I think would be best for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Get our
I
mindset right.
don't necessarily push that everybody should go plant based and everybody should go vegan. My whole goal, because even people ask me, they be like, "Are you fully vegan?" No, I'm not. I'm a chef. I mean, I'm a chef. I make everything. If you paying me money to make some groceries, I'm gonna make everything that you need me to make. Right? I'm a chef. However, uh, making the soultarian concept is to give an option because there
Absolutely.
is
Yeah.
not one in my neighborhood within
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll say the 5 to 8 mile radius. I'm probably the only all plant based restaurant on this side of town. And I mean, I think next place you probably get is Capitol Heights, a new
Mm.
vegan cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Or not new vegan.
Mm-hmm.
That's uptown. But
Okay.
what's the other one? Everlasting Life is another restaurant that's in the area. Um, but there's not options. And but I did a count, and within just a 2 mile radius, there's over 50 places that you can buy fried chicken from.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's everything from like your KFCs all the way to your Chinese carryouts and everything in between. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
That is.
that's the difference between food deserts and food swamps. Right? Food desert, there's no options, right? Food
Yeah.
swamps is
It's
there's a
just
bunch of
nasty
options,
options.
Mm.
It's
but
the
ain't none of them
Yeah.
good for you.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Ugh.
I'm still waiting for the moment where food trucks could kind of roll through the hood like ice cream trucks and just kind of just
Please.
just roll through.
Well,
So when you
laws are
guys,
preventing that, right? You know, there's
yes,
different
I
laws
saw.
that prevent that.
I saw that, and I was like, dang. But if we can make it happen, I would love to see that though one day. But
One of my closest friends, she lives in Compton, and she said that a lot of the ice cream trucks are ran by like Latino people. And so they do that. They roll through the truck, they roll through the hood, and it's technically it's the ice cream truck. But if you just happen to want some tacos de al pastor or like
yeah,
some
Just
nachos or some elote or something, they be, I got you too. I'm like, can we bring that to the rest of the world, please? Like, we need to get on the train.
Mm.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Everyone is on here preaching today. So we are winding down the hour. So this is the part where everyone gets on the box and we speak whatever is on our minds. I'll go first. So thank you everyone for joining us today and for speaking on Black Restaurant Week. I love food myself, so this is exciting for the Black community that we have a week where we can highlight our cultural food. And also, we have a great time to try to learn and try new Black cultural foods that we haven't known about before. So let's continue to keep our culture alive and thriving. So thank you again for joining us today, and I hope that everyone continues to have a blessed and amazing year. And I am off the box.
All right,
Our
I'm not
guest.
on the box. Oh, or they can go first.
Oh, okay. I feel
Whomever would
like
like
I've
to.
done a lot of talking already, but I just want to say thank you guys for the opportunity. I definitely enjoyed the dialogue in regards to Black Restaurant Week and all the different things, of being a restaurateur, and to tell y'all a little bit about this plant-based awesomeness that we serving up over here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
And
go next. Oh, you want me to go next?
yeah,
Okay, cool. Well, again, thank you so much for having Black Restaurant Week, being able to speak to you all today. Again, Black Restaurant Week in the greater Washington, D.C. region happens July 16th through the 30th. We have almost over 100 restaurants participating this year. Please go out and support these restaurants, not only during their designated campaign of the dates that I just mentioned, but throughout the entire year. Make sure they are a staple in your everyday eating throughout the month, throughout the year. Even like we mentioned before, if they have catering options, please ask them to cater maybe your baby shower, your divorce party, your faux
Ooh.
party, church function, whatever it may be. We're asking that you support these restaurants in some very creative ways because they're just as creative for us to be able to sustain us with manna on a daily basis. And so again, we're so thankful and grateful for being on the platform today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and hop on the box. Just as we've been talking about this entire episode, I want to reiterate the importance of supporting Black-owned businesses in general, but especially these Black-owned restaurants. I think it's easy for us, especially who live in urban areas, to go to our food swamps and or what little bit like of the oases we might have within our deserts. But catch the bus, get an Uber, ride a bike, walk, whatever. Support these businesses because they definitely need it. Black restaurant weeks happen all over the nation. So I say if you can, we'll travel for anything, honestly. Black people, we love a reason to leave somewhere. Go and try some of these restaurants that you see on TikTok or like on the Black Restaurant Week website. And also, like we talked about throughout this episode, I think that expanding our palates and expanding the limits that we've put on what's considered soul food or what we oftentimes think of with the Black food experience, if we expand that, it'll take us to some amazing places. Just as Chef Chris said, it's not to replace fried chicken, it's an alternative in case you, for whatever reason, you don't want it. So I think that a little bit of expansion in general with our minds, with the distances in which we're willing to travel, and just overall will really help us with these businesses, and then also with what the Black food experience is deemed as.
Agreed. And I would just wrap it up by, first of all, saying thank you to our guest. This was a tremendous show and discussion and a lot of fun. I can't wait to visit your location. I would also like to thank our audience and our regulars and those who joined us new this week. Don't forget to visit afro.com for more information, not only about what we talked about today, but just to get information, education, and inspiration about Black culture. That's afro.com. And then I just, as a last word for our audience, Chef Chris, the name of your restaurant again, just let's put it up one more time.
The name of our restaurant is Soultarian. We are located at 3660 St. Barnabas Road, Hillcrest Heights, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
You can check us out on Instagram at Soultarian. That's SOULTARIAN. So,
Thank you.
like us,
Can't wait
follow
to
through,
be there.
yeah. And then, of course, my YouTube cooking show, Southern Bread Chef, where we're doing some plant-based cooking that you guys can make at home. Simple, and eating plant-based doesn't have to break the bank.
Thank you. All right, Courtney.
Thank you again for everyone for joining us today, and I hope that everyone has a blessed and prosperous weekend. So